Let's bring in CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. So, Scott, of course, Carney had a short-term cabinet that had to be in place before the election. How much of a shakeup are you expecting tomorrow now?
I think fairly significantly. That was kind of a patchover cabinet in that he took over. He knew he was going to be in place for 9-10 days before he went to the campaign trail, and so he put some people in places that allowed for some continuity on things like the Kennedy U.S. file. But I think he's going to be a little bit more bold. I think he's going to be a little bit more sweeping, and he's got some new timber to work with because, of course, he was able to recruit some new people to run. Some of those stars and prominent people were successful, so he's going to have some bigger choices. So I think you're going to see a little bit more variety than you did last time.
All right, so let's talk about a potential makeup here of some of the new faces that might be in key roles, faces who are quite familiar that might be in other roles or staying in their roles. What are we thinking?
So the first thing, as when we take a look at some of these ministers here, I'd really take a look to the left side of our screen when we see the likes of Dominic LeBlanc. Now, Dominic has served in just the past 4 or 5 months, served as both international trade and finance minister. In both of those portfolios, he's been cheek by jowl with United States Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. He's on a first-name basis with him, talking all the time. I think the combination of experience, ability, charm, because Dominic is ripping in charm, so he's able to work with those Americans. I don't think you want to move him. Melanie Joly, obviously you want to keep her talents around the cabinet table. Beyond that, I think it's literally Joker's wild. I mean, there's lots of talented people in that picture, but he's going to want to make way for some newcomers. And I think there's a strong possibility that you'll see even prominent cabinet ministers shuffled around that we already know about. I want to highlight 2 people in particular on this list here. Carlos Leto and Tim Hodgson. I think both of those people personally recruited by Mr. Carney to run for office. Tim Hodgson used to be the chair of Hydro One. He's proven he can get large infrastructure projects built, conceived, and executed. That's important. And Carlos Leto out of Quebec City, former finance minister in Quebec, I think his talents are going to be leveraged. Some of the other faces as well, possibly, but those are the 2 I would really circle with red pen.
Yeah, so Scott, so you highlighted some names, but let's talk about the priorities of the Carney government and how that might be reflected in who he picks for these key positions.
Yeah, that is the critical issue. I mean, people will play, bingo card names, but ultimately, I think Carney comes into office believing in his bones that he is a crisis-built prime minister, recognizing that if it were not for the threats from Donald Trump, if it were not for the disruption that's shaking our economy, our relationship with the United States, our relationship with the rest of the world for that matter, that he wouldn't be prime minister. So I think he's going to focus and concentrate aggressively his agenda, thinking about how to rewire our economy, how to not only normalize trade relations with the U.S., but prepare ourselves so we're not as vulnerable to that. So I do think as a consequence, you're going to see people in economic portfolios, and they're going to be given a lot of room to run. Go get things built. Take advantage of this window of crisis. Get the permission of Canadians to build energy infrastructure. Get energy to markets. Deal with the United States and start to build relations with the EU and other parts of the world. I think that's going to shape his focus as prime minister, and he's going to put the people he trusts most into the portfolios that execute against that.
And we will carry it live tomorrow morning right here on CTV News Channel. CTV News political commentator Scott Reid, thanks so much.
Thank you, Scott.